related to COVID-19. There is no better time than now to start looking at supporting and encouraging community-led initiatives and strategies in fighting coronavirus. We are privileged today to look at one such initiative that has been making headlines in Matero constituency. My guest today is a brain and weight behind the Matero initiative. He is a Zambian lawyer, published author, journalist, and of course he was the spokesperson and senior advisor to the president, the fourth president of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Rupia Bwezan Banda. Mr. Dickson Jere, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to be at this station.
Indeed. What is a well-accomplished lawyer like you doing in Matero?
What is Matero doing in me?
Perhaps that's a better question.
You know,
what is the motivation behind what you're doing in Matero?
I mean, my life can never be written, or my history can never be written without a reference to Matero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm born and bred there. I started my nursery school there at Matero Community Hall.
Yes.
I proceeded to Matero Boys Primary School to do my primary school. And I only briefly left Matero in terms of education to go to Munali, but I still stayed there. So even when I was at Munali, I had to make a journey every day in the morning, getting onto the buses to Munali and back in the evening. And so Matero is part and parcel of me. Almost all my childhood friends still live in Matero. My relatives still live in Matero. And so there's no better place anywhere in the world where I'm well connected than Matero. So if I had to start anything to give back to society, I could not think of any other place than Matero, because that's where I am identified with my career, my success, my journey. It's all Matero. So I'm what President Sata used to refer to me as a Matero boy.
Okay. Notwithstanding all the negative reports, whether they are rumors or myths about Matero, certificates are printed, PhDs are printed there.
Yes, I mean, and that's a myth also, which I'm trying to see if some of us who have gone through Matero and are well accomplished, we should be coming out more openly to show that the negative aspect of Matero is not what it is. I mean, you're right. I mean, if you talk about Matero, it's a fake driver's license. If somebody has an accident, did you get your driver's license from Matero and so on? But you'll be interested to know that Matero has produced fine brains.
Yes.
Our current Chief Justice, you know, she's a Matero girl's product. Mumba Malida, Supreme Court judge, is a Matero boy's product. And I can go on, Professor Mvunga, and so on and so forth.
And not look about athletes. Look at the clubs, the sports clubs.
Exactly. I mean, if you talk about John Butcher Mwanza, who was one of the top international players and one of the first Zambians to go and play professional football, is a Matero product. You go to boxing, you have Sandamutis and so on. So Matero has produced actually one of the best, or the best athletes, the best academicians, and the best human being, notwithstanding the negative stories about Matero, which, of course, you cannot take it away that we do have some elements within ourselves in Matero who are not, you know, up to standards in terms of
like
character.
Everywhere else, of course.
Yes, like everywhere else. But we seem to get more stories about Matero than any other place. But we are living with it.
They say if you don't win elections in Matero, you definitely are not going to make it. So tell us more about the Matero initiative.
Yes.
How it began. What is this?
So some 5-6 years ago, I thought of finding a platform in which I could contribute as a way of giving back to the society in which I grew up, in Matero. So under the Dickson Jere Foundation, I had to think of a concept which will embrace people across the political divide. And I thought of coming up with this initiative, Matero Initiative, which basically is a platform which I use to raise finances from friends and colleagues, and also to mobilize resources for the community for different challenges. I'll give you an example. In 2014, we managed to set up 2 computer laboratories in Matero to help kids access computers because they were having problems during exams that they could not have where to write their computer examination, which were just introduced in the school syllabus. So I managed to mobilize computers, and I think we've done 2 schools, which are currently now in operational. And so I'm proud of that product because it is assisting over 5,000 kids to access computers through the Matero initiative. I have also managed to put up some water points, boreholes, through collaboration with friends. So what I basically do is that mostly when I'm having a drink with friends, whether in Zambia or outside, I try to make them feel guilty by converting the night's bill into what could be a resource to help the vulnerable. So if we have a bottle of whiskey, I'll tell them how much was the cost of this whiskey. Then they'll tell you, oh, okay, the bill came to 5,000 kwacha. And I say, yeah, so the 2 of us were having a bottle of whiskey, 2,000. Let's add the food and so on. Oh, so in a night, we're able to spend 6,000, 7,000 kwacha. Do you know what this money can do in Matero? It will be able to buy 2 computers which are second hand.
Yes, refurbished computers.
Yes, and help at most 200 to 300 kids to access computers because they don't have much to do in terms of having computer laboratories in Matero. And so inevitably, when your friend is guilty, he would say, no, forget about what we've spent. Tell me, so how many computers do you need? 10. How much is 10? I'm going to buy you 10.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it has been working very well. I mean, I've also had friends outside Zambia who would say, okay, me, I can contribute $100 towards the Matero initiative. There are others who would come and say, okay, like now I have 2 guys who've just called me. They have 2 boreholes which they have contributed to me through Matero initiative so that I can identify places where they need water. So it's become a very effective way of raising money for the community in a very sociable way that I make you feel guilty, you contribute. If you are from Matero, I see you driving a nice car outside Matero, I'll tell you don't forget where you're coming from, how much are you putting in to help. And now coming to the outbreak of COVID, we found ourselves in the midst of this pandemic without really being prepared. So we had to sort of adjust our concept of Matero initiative to concentrate mainly on providing support to the vulnerable in terms of personal protection equipment for COVID protection. So that has really helped because I was able to raise over 10,000 masks to distribute mainly to
and that's what is going on.
Yes. Mainly to the schools where, you know, parents in Matero, it's a bit difficult for them to really raise that 2 kwacha to buy a mask, 5 kwacha to buy a mask, because that's a price which you would actually get in terms to buy tomatoes and so on. And so we have 19 schools, government schools in Matero, which have prioritized that each and every school must receive some contribution in terms of masks and hand sanitizer. I wish to thank one colleague of mine from South Africa who's managed to give me up to 500 liters of hand sanitizer, specifically for my school program in Matero. He doesn't want to be identified, but because he's a colleague, he said, look, this is my contribution I'm making toward the Matero initiative. I've managed to also mobilize some thermometers, the handheld one, to take to school so that they'll be able to check temperatures of our kids in each and every school, which I'm currently distributing. Then the challenge came in that the churches were also reopened, and so most of them are serving the very people who are vulnerable in our society and are unable to find money to buy masks and so on. So I've been receiving, or our office has been receiving SOS messages from different churches, and so we had to adjust our program and incorporate the churches. By the way, even
Yeah, I can see Bishop.
yes, that's
Njovu
Bishop
there.
Njovu, my bishop from Matero. In
Yeah.
fact, I have a very close relationship with him because he was my Sunday school teacher
Oh, really?
at the Reformed Church of Matero
Yes.
many years back, before even Bigoga was formed. So he used to preach at the Reformed Church. So that's how he knew me. He knew my family, and we have always been together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but also about the request from the Muslim community. They run orphanages in Matero,
Yeah.
so we don't segregate. We'll be able to also organize some masks, and we've done that for 2 or 3 places and the mosque in Matero. Now, the concept was a bit small. It has finally actually outgrown us, because now everybody is jumping on the
You're
bandwagon.
everywhere in the media.
Yeah, now everybody is coming and saying this, let's do this together. I mean, I was coming here, a friend of mine called me from Airtel and was saying, listen, this seemed to be like an initiative which is
Worth
working.
supporting, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
working.
we are seeing the beneficiaries, we are seeing people are happy. How can we collaborate? And I said, look, that's the message I need to take to the people of Matero and see how we can work together. So far, it's been fantastic. We are running out. Oh, by the way, another person called me yesterday. Very interesting man. I've never met him. He called me, asked me, how many masks do you need for Matero? I told him, what do you mean? He said, for schools. I said, okay, look, I've not catered for the community schools yet, so I may need some. So he told me, listen, what I need is a total number so that we don't have to choose which kid to get and which one not to get. Get back to me with the numbers. I think I'll be able to raise finances for that particular activity, because I've seen how you've pushed this agenda. It is looking very effective, and I want to be part of it. And so I just say, thank God. I mean, this thing
And you
is
know
now working.
OIDC is in Matero, right?
Yes, of course. OIDC is in Matero, and I'm proud to be part of OIDC. And behind OIDC, there's Matero North.
Yes.
I'm getting calls there that you have left us out, and they are next on my list. I'm coming there to help them.
Amen.
And so this is what we so-called privileged people should be doing, that you don't have to really use your own money to do these things, but you can mobilize resource among friends. And one of the advantage I have is that I'm good in resource mobilization. And like I say, that I make you feel guilty, you have to contribute. Because also we like looking for bigger things. I have a friend of mine who sent me $300 for the masks. The $300 for the masks I've catered for one particular community school. Yeah, because $300, you put it in kwacha, it's quite a lot of money. You give the women to make the mask. It's a big contribution.
Yeah.
But that's the money we spend in a night in Chicago's, granddaddies and so on. So before you spend that money, always think that there's somebody out there who cannot afford a mask because they don't have the money. So spare a little for the vulnerable.
I've seen some T-shirts around, people wearing, I hope we can see a picture on the screen, people wearing Matero initiatives. And my question is, do you have volunteers or foot soldiers who are doing interpersonal communication?
Yes, I can see.
As you distribute these masks, is somebody telling people about coronavirus, interpersonal
Yes, so
communication?
that's the concept of the program, is that Matero people always get influenced by people who live within them, who have made some achievement or who are great in something. And sports is quite big in Matero. So we started by identifying famous footballers who are active in Matero, so that, especially the young ones, so that they can wear our T-shirts and go out and explain what this Matero initiative is all about, but more importantly, how to prevent themselves from getting COVID. I'm in Matero at most once a week, but even if I don't go there, on a daily basis, we have volunteers who are going around, preaching the message, distributing the masks, and making sure that they feed back to us what needs to be done. So even the issue of where we are going to distribute the mask, which school is more vulnerable than the other, we are getting feedback from the people on the ground. But also I must thank the headmasters in Matero, that they have the platform where they'll be able to share what we are doing. And so even within that platform, we are getting now feedback such a school, okay, they have the mask, but they're in need of sanitizer. And we're able now to respond specifically to the needs of particular schools. So far it's been good because we're dealing with examination classes, and so we are trying to mobilize more as the schools open for everybody. That will be a bigger challenge, but so far we are trying to mobilize resources for that. And I wish to thank the young people, especially the sportsmen, the Drogbas of Matero, who are wearing T-shirts every day, going around and telling their colleagues, this coronavirus is real, it may hit us, please let's wear the masks, even as we are playing football, whatever, let's exercise social distancing, and so on and so forth. Putting sanitizers on sports facilities, like tomorrow, there's a football tournament, a big one in Matero, which is happening, Heroes and Unit tournament. I've told them I'm bringing sanitizer so that all these kids who are coming to watch, it's difficult to tell them to stay away. They'll always show up, but let them watch their hands, let them use sanitizer while they go and watch the football so that we can keep the spread of the virus contained. And so I'm very, very humbled by these young people who are go in the markets. We have marketeers who have volunteered to send the message. They are all saying this is the best thing to do. And because we are doing it across party lines, across political divide, everybody is able to volunteer to be part of it.
Absolutely. Yes. And that was supposed to be my next question on how you are utilizing community-based committees like market committees, ward development committees, sports clubs, and all these. How are they getting involved?
Yes, so that's, in fact, a very good question. So when we go to the markets, we identify the leaders. And we don't want, if you have seen us, we don't go like what everybody is doing, giving masks to each and every marketeer and so on and so forth, people following. No. We identify a leader, then we leave. If it's 100, we leave the 100 masks with the leader, and we trust the leader that you'll be able to go in and distribute to the need. Afterwards, we have a way of counter-checking whether those who are expected to receive the masks have received them, or those who are expected to receive sanitizer, they've received them. So we feed the feedback to us to check if the request they made was enough. If there was enough, is everybody happy? What else do they need? Was the message taken to them? What challenges are they having so that we can try to remedy the situation. So far it's been so good that we are working. Even some councillors have been able to call and say, hey, we've seen you distributing the mask. My ward needs this thing, and I'm able to give the councillors some masks to take. We've had ward chairmen calling. In fact, the ward chairmen have been more active, calling and say we need some support in this area, and we're able to assist. We are hoping that with this winter, which is becoming lethal and cases seeming to be going up, that Matero won't be one of those which will be hit. But so far, we are doing a commendable job.
Wonderful. There's a number on your screen, please. We want to hear from you. How is your community coping with the threat of coronavirus? And how are you, indeed, personally, taking care of yourself and your family? But you can also ask a question, especially if you are from Matero, or ask the council here and see how we can attend to you. And those of you that have access to internet, we are also live on Facebook as well as YouTube. Just search for my name or Prism Africa, and you'll be directed to where the link, the live link, is. Now, council, how does using such structures like ward development committees, market development committees, churches, schools, and you have involved quite a lot of them, especially sports clubs. How is this relevant to the fight against the coronavirus?
I mean, we have to make the fight against the coronavirus real. And how do you make it real is to make sure that the leaders in the communities are in the forefront of educating their people. So if you use a sports club, they'll be able to mobilize their team players and whatever. If you talk to them, they go back to talk to so many people because they are influencers and heroes in their own right when they get back to their communities. And so that has been very effective. using the church, it's much even easier because the pastors are interacting with the sick, are interacting with those in need, they're interacting with the vulnerable in the community, and they're also interacting at on a weekly basis for Sunday service with a wider numbers, which we who are doing this initiative cannot afford to mobilize those numbers. So it becomes effective that a pastor every Sunday, a priest every Sunday has a message to the congregants that this is what you need to do, and these are the do's and don'ts. And we're trying now that we should identify some churches which we can collaborate with, so that we should be having some slots within the church service to address the congregants. I mean, I was glad that the first option we had was with the UCZ Church in Emersdale. They allowed us to address the congregants and talk about COVID-19 and how to prevent it and so on. And my message has always been clear. Not until it is done, it's not done.
Yes.
Let's not be complacent that this disease is for the educated. This disease cannot spread in Africa. By the way, I was listening to the figures coming out of South Africa.
Oh, it's
very,
terrifying.
very, very worrying. And also, if you've noticed, in the last few weeks, not days actually, the death rate in Zambia has gone up.
Yes.
And most of these cases are coming of people who have died home. Now, what that tells you is that these people may not necessarily have been very sick. Yeah, it's a usual, I'm having a cough, I'm having a flu. Let me see if I can shake it off. Home, look, I'll make ginger tea here, lemon. By the time it's getting worse, you have been rushed to the hospital, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because if you were actually very sick, you wouldn't have died home because they would have taken you to the hospital.
And in the meantime, you're infecting others in the,
exactly,
in the
in the
community
same
and
communities
in your
and the
house.
same neighborhood, because even if you die, people come to them, they carry your body without knowing that actually you died of COVID-19. So those are the things we need to guard jealousy and protect the community. So we are sending that message as the Matero initiative that please, it is not yet done until it is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the issue of bars, it's a big issue in Matero. It's a catch-22. You know, families survive on learning bars. Families survive on selling on the bars as secondary business. Yeah. So they sell eggs, they sell groundnuts, they sell whatever. But if we just reopen carelessly, we may not know what would hit us. So we need to balance the situation. And so I keep on telling even my people in Matero, my friends in Matero, my family in Matero, that let's tread carefully. Let's not rush these things, because once it hits us, it will be difficult to contain, and because we don't have enough facilities, even in our health centers, ventilators and so on, to handle a crisis which may come if this thing happens. So I am glad that so far people are listening, but also God has been on our side, that we have not been hit that badly. But the figures coming out in the last few days should make us worry.
For this commendable job, how much support are you getting, or how closely are you working with offices like the Office of the Area MP?
Well, I mean, the Area MP has, I must commend him that he's never felt threatened, so to say, that stop what you are doing. In fact, last time he addressed a meeting, he encouraged people to welcome my initiative and receive the donations. And so I remain grateful to him that he's shown leadership in time of need, that you don't have to choose who should receive or should bring donations and so on. I personally speak to him once in a while. I've never had any problems with him. I have a relationship with almost all councillors in Matero. I've not had problems with them. I enter their wards whenever I want. I've never faced political resistance, that what I'm doing here and so on. So that has been very good. I've interacted with the people from the ruling party. They've not had problems with me. I have interacted with marketeers. They've not had problems with me. I'm interacting with a church. They've never had problems with me. I've interacted even with the youths, the so-called commanders on the bus stops and whatever. I've been well received in terms of them accepting that what we are doing is noble and we should be given space to implement what we are trying to do. And I hope and pray that this should continue as we even move forward.
Matero is a very big area, extremely big. I think it should be more than 70,000 people, if not mistaken.
Well, above that.
Way above that,
it's
right?
above that. So if you're talking about close to 70,000, it's like you're talking about the voter register. Matero is far bigger than that. And so when we talk about Matero, mainly we try to concentrate, actually the word Matero, it is there on the center. But in fact, Matero goes as far as Baraston Park.
Oh.
It's all part of Matero, Zingalume. You go down Chunga there into George Compound, industrial area, Villa Elizabetha here right in town, coming part of Great North Road.
Yeah.
It's all part of Matero constituency. In fact, politically, it is earmarked to be split into two. What would be called Matero North and Matero East and Matero West.
Yes.
And so some political parties like PF, they've already actually split Matero, and they have two chairmen even for Matero East and Matero West. We have 5 wards in Matero. So it's one of the biggest areas in Zambia. For those of us who come from Matero, we call it's a city within a city. We call it our own New York. If you haven't been to Matero, you have not been to Lusaka.
Yeah.
It's because everything you want to see is found in Matero. So it is a vast area, and that is why we had to identify first government schools, which are dotted, 19 of them, dotted around 5 different wards in Matero. So we are able to address that. And so if you come to my personal office, where we are running Matero Initiative, you see that we have a graph. And if you look at that graph, you think that it's all about Lusaka, but it's all Matero. So there's Chunga, there's Chingwere, there's George Compound, there's Lilanda, there's Zingalume, there's Chunga, there's Matero East, there's Matero North, there's Matero Men, there's Chipanda, there's Chingwere. So we've all segmented the area so that when we are moving in strategically, that we know which areas we are touching and whatever. Then there's down Kawama, there's Baraston. It's a huge, huge area. And so it needs a lot of planning for us to make sure that we're making an impact. And that is why we've identified that the influencers, the musicians, the players, the boxers should be taking a leading role in this fight against COVID through Matero Initiative, ourselves in the back only providing the resources.
With such a huge size of the targeted area, I know Matero has got a lot of orphanages, a lot of vulnerable people, but there's one institution that is homes for the
aged.
For the aged.
Yes.
Have you left them out?
No, in fact, when we just changed the concept from the other activities we are doing to concentrate on COVID during this period, the first institution we dealt with was the Matero Home of the Aged. So we are the first ones to take the masks there. We were the first one to take the thermometers there. We were the first one to take the sanitizers. Now, for me, I have a personal attachment to that particular place because almost every year I make a donation from my personal resources to help them. I've been doing this for a long time. I try to do it either during Easter period or during Christmas. But during Christmas, I notice quite a lot of institutions, they all go their companies, so they get overwhelmed. So during Easter is a bit quieter, so I always make a personal contribution to that institution. I'm so much attached to that place, what we call Chibalo. I've not checked on them the last few weeks. I need to check if they still have masks in place. If they run out, I'll take more. That's a special place for me. Yeah. Then just almost opposite Chibaro, there's of course houses. There's a Muslim orphanage, which is also looking after very young kids. We've been able to support them. We've helped them with masks. We've helped them with sanitizers. We are now trying to help them with food packs. One colleague of mine has just called me that he's mobilizing some food packs to help the vulnerable during this period. And I said the best way also to be to take to these orphanages. So I'm glad that people are responding, and I hope so many, even those who are listening, should be able to join in and help.
Yeah.
You know what I would want to see is that what I'm doing in Matero, the Matero initiative, I want others to replicate it in other areas so that we can all make a difference. So that is only my catchment area is Matero.
I wish Shwangan was nearby for me.
Yeah. So I want somebody to do it in Chawama. I want somebody to do it in Mandevu. Then that way we have an impact.
Yeah.
And just to digress a bit, I sit on the board of Checha Homes, and we are coming up with a program to help the vulnerable kids, the disabled, in Mandevu constituency to access medical treatment during this period, to access personal protection equipment. And so far, I'm getting excited because that is what I think that my mission is now on earth, is also to give back to people, to interact with the people. And I feel so relieved that when I helped one person, I feel so relieved that I'm probably worth living than buying that bottle of whiskey, which you just go to West, you enjoy for a night, but you can change a life. Just with 100 kwacha, you can change somebody's life. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do. Apart from that, we are trying now to have school program where we'll be motivating young kids, like bringing well-known personalities to go and give a talk to school kids. One of the talks I'm trying to organize is for the Chief Justice to go back to her school Matero girls and just give a talk to those little girls that she was actually right at that school. She is now heading one of the powerful institutions in the country. It is possible. That's a motion. That's a tagline for our campaign. It is possible. So whether you are disabled, for the disabled, I'm arranging little pep talk. I'm bringing my good friend Chola Gafaura, who's the chief executive officer at the FRA.
Yes.
Yeah, he has 3 degrees, but yet he's disabled. Yeah, and he's running one of the most strategic institutions of our country. I want him to go and talk, to encourage, and make those kids work hard, that it is possible. I, for instance, have adopted a classroom where I did my first grade 1 at Matero Boys. I'm refurbishing the classroom, bringing new desks, getting out of those blackboards and putting a whiteboard, putting projectors to move with time. But that's a way of giving back. Now, can you imagine if each one of us start adopting our former classrooms, not school, classrooms, little classroom? Do you know the impact we're going to do?
Huge.
Yeah, because, see, my kids go to Nkwazi school. If you go to Nkwazi, they don't use blackboard. They don't... They have access to computers. They have access to all basic learning equipment.
That's projectors.
You just drive few meters away from Rhodes Park to Matero. These kids have no access to computers. They've never seen a computer. They've never seen a whiteboard. And you want them to compete at the same level, to write the same exams? A bit unfair. So both of us who have a bit of some means, let's get in and help the less fortunate. That, by the way, the advanced schools have always been there. We went through a government school, but we made it. So we need to encourage these kids that the fact that you come from a poor family does not make your life that you are going to remain where you are. Actually, you can be a president. Yeah? You can be a president of Zambia, you can be a chief justice, you can be a speaker. That is the bigger picture of the Matero initiative, getting everybody involved. Community projects, let's sink boreholes. Let's identify the needy. Let's help, let's share, because it is possible for us to live in harmony.
Sounds like humanism or communism, something like that.
Wow. Even in countries where there is the absolute capitalism like the US, that's why you find the biggest philanthropists, the Bill Gates. They're all from there. Because as long as we remain human, and so long as we believe in God, regardless of which religion you belong to, there's that responsibility to give back to the less privileged. By the way, I just came to know, I have a friend of mine who's a Muslim. He called me after Ramadan, and he told me, do you know that in our faith, we give 10% of our annual earning to charity? And so he identified Matero as one of the places he wants to contribute that 10%. And he told me, Just tell me where there's water problem, I'll come and sink a borehole. Yeah, giving back. So he told me that is part and parcel of their religious tithing system. We tithe to churches, yeah, but can you imagine that even those of you who don't go to church, you just decide that I'll be giving away a 10 kwacha every month for that kid who cannot afford uniform. Do you know how the world is going to be changed? So it might be communism, but it's just trying to level the playing field.
It's helping.
Yeah, because do you know that if this gap of the rich and the poor continues to grow, the poor will turn against the rich, and you'll never enjoy whatever comfort you're having. Yeah, so if you go and barricade yourself in New Kasama, in Ibex Hill, and say, you know, the problems of the people in the compound is not my problem, they'll start marching from the compounds to your areas.
Yeah.
So we have that moral responsibility and obligation to give to the poor, to help them level the playing field. So if it means them going to school, let's try and help them that they access the best education which can make them come out of poverty. Education is the best equalizer anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. And so most of us are testimonies to that.
Exactly. There are those who come from typical villages. Today they are ministers, they are chief executive officers and whatever, because of education.
I wore my first pair of shoes in grade 8.
Oh, there you go.
And people don't want to believe just because
there you are.
Yeah.
You are a PhD holder. But if the story is told, nobody will believe.
Absolutely. Now let's get back to as we get to the last 5 minutes of the program. People are saying coronavirus is a hoax just because we don't have as many cases as other countries, or we are not dying as much as others are dying. We know this is a myth because it is not a hoax. How are you managing such myths?
You see, I was parking my car at Matero Market 2 days ago, and this lady came. She had no mask. She had whatever. She was cleaning, and I was saying, "Mai, you got mask?" And I answered, "No, kulibe coronavirus."
Exactly.
So I stopped. Then I engaged her.
Yeah.
And a very sharp woman, because she was asking me, manje why isipatuoneza vantu vano vakufa? Kuitali wanzotishoyinga pa TV kuti awo bafa kuno sipationesa. So I had to sit down and try to demystify that thinking that people are not dying. In fact, that's what I'm saying, that I was happy that the Daily Nation actually put it as headline yesterday, that more BIDs coming in. That is a message now to show that people are dying. But you see, it's always difficult. Like I'm saying, like the people of Matero, if you tell them that this thing is real, because Matero has always had what we used to call almost a traditional ceremony, that every rain season they will have cholera. And they can identify who is sick, you know, who has died of cholera, because it is right in the communities. But for now, it is difficult because they can't point at a person. But I'm telling them, but the moment it's going to hit you, it may be too late. So, okay, assuming it's a hoax, why can't we be safer? Because if it turns out not to be a hoax, we'll all be dead. So that's the message we are sending.
It's better you are safer.
For now, let's protect safe. Let's play safe. Yeah.
So that if it turns out to be a hoax, well,
so be good. Yeah. But if it doesn't, then the whole place will be wiped out.
All right. I can't imagine there's a country in Africa which is right now worse than China, and that is South Africa.
Yep. I mean, the entire Eastern Cape is scared. Yeah, it's scared that the figures, the death rate is now going up. Yeah, but not in March. I was in South Africa. They were just like the way we are. They were in denial the way we are. In fact, we moved even a bit faster. You could enter the airport in and out. I remember, I don't know how many times I entered in March. There was nothing. You come to Zambia, they put you under scrutiny, trying to get your details. That thing was not happening in South Africa. But have you seen what has happened? South Africa now is really feeling the effect of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
We are lucky here that it doesn't hit us that way.
I know we have talked a bit about BIDs and what this means in the community. It means a lot. It means that we have identified cases that are going on in the community and they are transmitting
Yes.
Okay. Do you think this is time to double our efforts at the community level?
In fact, that's what my message has been. That if you see now people dying homes, because naturally people rarely die at home. People who die at home are either those who are chronically sick. They've been sick for a very long time, then they've sent home for what we call home-based care. Those, yes, when they die, I mean, everybody in the community say, you know, I mean, let him rest. I mean, you know, he has suffered and so on. People who are dying are those we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, but they die home. That should send a message. Yeah, because if they were sick at some point, they would have gone to the hospital and they would have probably been admitted. Now, it's because we're now taking it, oh, wow, it's a flu. I'll shake it off. Oh, no, I'll be okay. Then next, I mean, that sudden death which is happening should actually put us on alert that something is not adding up. Let's play safe. And this is the best time to play safe. Because like the prediction was, and like the president mentioned, that during the court season, we have to monitor the figures. And so far, there's been an upward swing during this period. And I hope it doesn't hit us back.
And you know what is very frightening is that the upward swing has not been on the cases, has been on the deaths.
Exactly. Because initially, we were, and that's what should worry us now, that people are dying.
Yeah.
You know, and people are dying. Probably those who have been reported. Yeah. Yeah. What of those others who are just transmitting? They are not yet dead. What happens? It means they are reinfecting. And if we don't double our efforts this time, we may have a road shock.
Yeah.
And I'm now telling everybody, we relaxed a bit because we're not seeing any change. These deaths must make us wake up, and let's double our efforts, especially those who are in the front line, to try and educate. It's all education. Our people lack information, so let's give them the information. Yeah.
Our airports are open now. I know this is outside Matero. Should we get worried?
Well, not really, because for now, by the way, our Lusaka International Airport was never closed.
Yes, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So the airports which have been open is Livingston and
Dolan.
and Mfoe, which have very insignificant numbers compared to Lusaka. So even if our airports have opened, how many planes are coming in? Because South Africa is still closed down, they're not flying here. Emirates is not flying here. So the only flights which have been coming in is Ethiopia. And how many people are traveling now? Very few. Yeah, so I don't see much contribution that the airports reopening will bring to upswing of the figures. I think we have to deal with the internal problem we have now. These BIDs, where are they coming from? Why are we not containing the situation?
Yeah, perhaps we are not testing as much.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe we're not testing. Trump is saying, well, you are saying America's highest number because we are over-testing. Yeah, we are the only country who are testing. Yeah, so maybe there's a point there.
Interesting figure he is. What would you say? I know that there could be several other people who would want to contribute to your effort, your initiative at Matero. Put all the differences, affiliations aside. Maybe just an appeal to those who are listening, and they can bring in a coin just to help some poor woman out there.
Yes, in fact, very brilliant question. Some people have called me and say, but I'm not from Matero, but I want to contribute. Matero initiative is not for people from Matero, well, in terms of those who want to contribute. The beneficiary and the catchment of the recipient of our support is Matero.
Yes.
But anywhere you are, whether you are in Dubai, you are in Ethiopia, you are in Nigeria, you can still contribute to help those people through the Matero initiative. So far I've had friends outside Matero who are contributing, and I just urge those of you who have something to give, please just get in touch with us and see how we can work together. Your support should not be primarily be restricted to what we are doing now. For instance, if you have old clothes, let us know, because we can take those clothes to the needy in the old people's home or orphanages. If you have an old kettle you want to get rid of, we can take it to an orphanage so that the kids can have warm tea and so on. So we are getting everything. We are getting everything. It's just that our catchment is Matero, and like I say, it is Matero, not the Matero itself. It's the Matero constituency, which goes far beyond Matero.
Yes.
Because if you are at Baraston Park, of course, that's not Matero, but it's part of Matero. We are supporting everybody. And I just wish to thank all the church leadership in Matero, including the political leadership, for the support they've given us to allow us to do what we are doing without any really fights or political interference and infighting. They've allowed this movement to grow. It's a movement for the young people. They're enjoying it. They're enjoying wearing a T-shirt of Matero Initiative. They're enjoying telling their friends that COVID is real. They're just enjoying playing football, playing basketball, playing tech ball.
Weightlifting.
Yes, because in fact, Mr. Matero is
Yeah.
one of those wearing the T-shirt very religiously, saying, I'm part of the Matero Initiative. Let's bring happiness in the communities, and that's what we're trying to do.
Tomorrow you mentioned that there is a very big football tournament.
Yes.
Of course, for somebody in public health like me, I get to have worry questions in my
Yes.
head. What precautions? I know that you are not in charge of organizing that, but what is the Matero Initiative doing to ensure that the people there are safe?
Yes, so today I've told the organizers of the tournament, because this is a community, they're not a registered group, they're just coming together, keep themselves busy, that I need to meet them so that we can find ways of where we can put water points, where we can put sanitizers and so on during this period of COVID. You cannot stop it. It's a community initiative. I mean, they'll be like this. We need to find a way of intervening to stop. Because if you go there, how are you going to stop them? Yeah, they've planned, they've put money together.
I can actually stone you.
Exactly. I was about to say that unless you want a riot, even the police know that they can never stop those community engagements. But that's what keeps them busy.
Absolutely.
They look forward to a long holiday to have this tournament. So the only thing we can do, those of us with a connection to those who are involved in this, is to go and help, provide whatever we can to help them play safe. And that's what we're going to do. And so tomorrow, I'm taking those water points and masks and sanitizer to just give, especially to spectators who will be coming to watch the football. The players have already been catered for because they are part of the Matero Initiative. We have given them protective gear and so on. It will be more those kids who are coming to watch this biggest tournament of the community.
Yeah. Your last words, Council, to the people of Matero.
Well, Matero, I'm your son. We can work together. I'm passionate about you. We shall always be together in different capacities. I just love doing what I'm doing. I always say our business is community business. Our business is to make a difference to that less privilege. I'm ready to attend to any of your needs if I can. But even when I have no capacity to attend to those needs, I will be able to pass on the messages to those who can. I have a network with friends, a good network of friends who are coming on board to help. Let's keep this momentum. Let's make Matero Initiative a permanent feature in our community, that each one of us should be proud that we were born, bred in Matero, and we're giving back. That's my message for Matero. I'm ready for you.
Council, thank you so much.
Okay.
There you are. I hope you have been encouraged. The purpose of this program, especially today, was to pick some lessons from how the Matero Initiative is fighting coronavirus involving the community. What are you doing in Chawama constituency, Lusaka Central constituency, Shingad constituency, Mfue constituency? What are you doing about coronavirus? I hope you have picked the lessons that we intended to deliver from this particular program. Thank you so much for watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as on TV, Movie TV, and TOPSTAR. This program will stay recorded on Facebook and YouTube. You can always watch it over and over again, and you can always ask questions. We'll be able to answer you. We're to the end of the program. Like I always say, please, your health is your choice. Bye-bye.